Hi, and welcome to the Locker Room. I am one of the hosts, Justin Ham, and thank you for joining us as we journey through tough issues that guys face as athletes and as humans. Let's welcome our guest today, Ed Stratton, as he is here today to help us navigate the tough questions of guys, God, and does it matter? Ed, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get too far along, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you and I got to know each other?
Yeah, hey Justin, thanks for having me today. This is a great opportunity just to kind of share what we're doing. And God's keeping us very busy these days. We're loving it. So, yeah, a little bit about myself with FCA. I got started back in 2012 when somebody was recruiting my son for to play football for a college that he coached at. And make a long story short, he circled back to me when he went on his full-time staff with FCA and asked if we would consider supporting him and being on his board of directors. And yeah, it seems like a long time ago, but fast forward to that back then we were business owners. We've since sold off a couple businesses and retired a couple businesses and now I'm on staff, man. I came on staff full time back in 2019. Back in 2012, I started a motocross ministry where we were going around and just telling people about FCA, telling people about Jesus and how they could know the God that saved me through their sport that they love so much which is how we met them at their platform. So it was a great start and to watch what God's done over the last 12, 13 years has been just an amazing thing for me to see how God's used all that to where we're at today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so the motocross is the FCA motocross, which is now kind of broadened into motorsports, but started that back in 2012, bought a 24-foot trailer, put the coolest wrap in the world on it, and started driving around the motocross tracks. And it said FCA motocross, and it had this little saying that said, putting the cross in motocross.
Oh, I love that.
And people would run up to it and they'd go, man, this is the coolest looking trailer because it was a sharp wrap we put on it. And
Yeah.
the track owners were very receptive, let us come there and set up on vendor row. We'd pray for the event that day that was going on. People would come over and ask us what we were all about. We were eventually leading up to doing a camp. So um, the following year, that fall in August, we did our first FCA motocross camp in New York, and we had about 65 kids show up for it. And yeah, we train at the highest level all day long and do ministry in the evening under a tent. And it was a pretty cool platform that we're using there. So
That is incredible. So what is it about motorsports that you think resonates with people in a way that maybe traditional team sports might not?
yeah, that's such a point because if you think about it, we do an excellent job as FCA reaching into schools, college campuses, high school campuses, stick and ball sports. I mean, coaches and athletes it's just that's the model of FCA, been that way for 70 plus years. Well, there's a lot of kids that don't relate to stick and ball sports. They may not play a sport in school at all, but they do love doing things like riding dirt bikes or hunting or hiking or fishing or those things. So uh, we're reaching people where they're at. It's like, okay, if we as FCA are going to be every coach, every athlete, you got to realize that athletes is a broader picture than just stick and ball sports. So people that hunt and fish and ride dirt bikes, they're athletes, and people that help train them and work with them, and those are coaches. And so I get an opportunity to reach into an area where we haven't been great at it over the years, but I would say in the last few years we have been getting really good at it globally and pay more attention to the fact that if we're truly looking to minister to every coach and every athlete, this is a platform or several platforms that are outside the norm.
Yeah. Was this something that have you always been somebody who's like those outdoors, like sports type motocross things, or is this something you developed along your way? Was this something involved maybe in your childhood that you grew up with?
Yeah, so I'm a perfect example. I never played a sport in school. I mean I played basketball a little bit. I think I played 1 year of football, but my sport was racing dirt bikes. That's what we did every weekend. Me and my neighbors, we had our own private track up behind our house. We rode every single day after school, raced every single weekend, and that's what I did. So my passion was that was my sport. So when I got introduced to FCA, it was more about stick and ball sports. But as I was researching about the ministry, because I didn't really know much about it when I was asked to consider being a part of it, I found out that they were doing a sports specific ministry through FCA called FCA Motocross, and it was being done across the state. Like I think it was done in 9 other states at that time. And I contacted the regional director, I mean the national director, and I said, "Why isn't this going on?" excuse me, up in New York, and she just said because nobody's taking the ball and running with it. And I'm like, I gotta do this because sharing Jesus is my passion, and to do it on a platform that I spent most of my childhood growing up in is just it's just a great combination. I mean, sharing Jesus and riding dirt bikes, it ended up being a great combination. So that's how I kind of got started with it.
That makes a lot of sense because it sounds like something that is just really you're passionate about it for sure, and it makes sense that you started at a young age. And I guess my second question is, what about your relationship with the Lord? What was that journey like for you?
Yeah. So and this also relates. So excuse me, the opportunity for me to come to Christ was something that I was introduced to through something that I was wanting to do. So there was a basketball tournament that was coming up. There was this Christian coach, and I didn't know it at the time, that thought, hey, if I can get some guys to practice for this upcoming basketball tournament, I can get them to this event. And he knowing darn well there was going to be a intermission where they talked about Jesus, never shared that with us. The draw for me was, hey, would you be a part of this basketball team? We're going to go play competitively against a lot of other high schools all throughout the Northeast region. So we ended up at a college down in Ithaca, and at intermission, they brought a guy out and he shared the gospel message of Jesus Christ and how he got saved. And man, it was like God just opened my eyes, man. It was like I wasn't in a place of looking for God. I didn't need God in my life. Things were good. Uh, but God had a plan, and he used this coach who had a passion for Jesus and understood that you can use a platform like basketball to bring kids together. And if you give them a chance to come together under a common passion that they have and share the gospel, who knows? Somebody like this guy might get saved. And that's what happened to me. I literally I ran to the front of that gym and asked Jesus into my life. And like I said before, I wasn't looking for God. I didn't need God, but it was God's timing for me. And so we believe that today. We believe that giving the opportunity, the draw is that people have passions for things like motocross riding and fishing and hunting and hiking and different things that we do in the outdoors. So to be able to offer that and share the gospel, that's the connection for me. It's like that's how I got saved. It was through the same exact model, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing, and you mentioned it a couple times, and as FCA staff, we know this all the time. We use this when we share, is we want to meet folks where they're at, because there is something about meeting them about something they care about when you can have those real authentic conversations. I don't know if you can put yourself back at that place in that gym when you were playing in that basketball game, but what was it about the gospel in that moment that made you someone who wasn't necessarily looking for God all of a sudden, this is what I need? And obviously, I know the Holy Spirit works and all of that, but what was it that the speaker said that really resonated with you, if you can remember?
Yeah, I can totally remember this question or the answer to this question. So, because it was so meaningful to me. There's a scripture that says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And
Yeah.
this guy was giving a testimony about how Jesus Christ saved his life. He was an Air Force pilot and he crashed an airplane. And I don't remember all the specifics now, but it was something about he crashed a plane and he was near death. And, he made this deal with God that if he, get him out of this unforeseeable mess that he was in, that he would dedicate his life to preaching the gospel. And at that point, somebody broke through the side of the plane with an axe. I do remember this. They caught him in the side of the head with the axe, almost killed him when trying to get him out of there, and they cut his head wide open. And anyways, it was the testimony part that he had gone through this life tragedy, and that he met God at that point, and he made a deal with God. If you will save me from this and allow me to return to my family, I'll dedicate the rest of my life to doing ministry. So again, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. In this case, it was a testimony of this Air Force pilot that really resonated with me. And then the connection to, hey, you can know the same Jesus that saved me, and this is why we need to consider that.
Yeah. So what I love about that is, this is a podcast that is by guys for guys. And I think what's so powerful about what that is, I think guys, the way that we're wired, is we need to have that mentality of like, all right, I hear what you're saying, but I need some kind of proof for it. Like guys are kind of hard headed. I know I am anyway. I don't want to generalize at all, but when they hear something, they're like, all right, that sounds good. But then they hear something like that. It's like, all right, it worked for you. Now I'm willing to try it. I think that's something that this opportunity with FCA outdoors, motocross, things like that could reach people as well because it's another opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, back to the platform, the draw is people come for, they don't come to because we're a Christian
Right.
organization. They come because they love motocross or they love
Yeah.
hunting.
Right.
So, and we understand that. So we don't hide the fact that we're a Christian ministry
Right.
doing great things in the outdoors, great things on dirt bikes. But we're running in our motocross camp. We just celebrated 10 years last year of doing a motocross camp. We've transitioned about 5 years ago from being just a youth camp to now we're a family camp. And so we're running 250 people at our motocross camp every year. And most of them come because they want to ride dirt bikes. We
Right.
get a chance to share the gospel. And I think one of the best testimonies that came was from last year where one of our normal families that come every year invited another family, and they're like, "Hey, we really would like you to come to this camp. It's a fellowship of Christian athletes." And their answer was, we're not into this whole God thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if we want to do this. We don't do the whole religious thing, but what we do is we love to ride dirt bikes. So I guess we'll come and we'll just ride dirt bikes and we'll ignore the rest of that stuff. Well, that same guy came up to me the last day of camp, pulled me aside, and he said, "Listen, we were very apprehensive about coming to this camp because we are not religious family. We are not a God. We're not into this whole God thing. But what we heard about God this week has opened our eyes to the fact that we need to start paying more attention to this. And next year we will be here not as much for the dirt bike riding as we will for the ministering part of it because that's really changed my family's life over the last 4 days. So that is a cool testimony because if we can just get them there, right? I don't think I could fill a tent with 250 people if I told them that, hey, come on over to a tent for 4 nights. We're going to talk about Jesus.
Right.
Unless you're Billy Graham and the Holy Spirit's moving, those things don't happen very often. But I can fill a tent with 250 people because they come to the ministry program at night after being trained at the highest level at a great program and they get a chance to hear about Jesus.
No, that makes so much sense because again, it's meeting them where they're at and then using that as a platform to share what we know is true. That's amazing. What a story that is. So, what are some of the things that you've seen over your 10 years that have what are some is that sounds like it's got to be one of your biggest not success stories, but that sounds like a great testimony. What are some other testimonies that you've been able to witness firsthand over the last 10 years of your outdoor ministry, motocross ministry?
Yeah, I think the best thing is, and the reason I do this is because every single time the Lord has prepared somebody to be there to hear the gospel message, and we do altar ministry every night of whatever camp we're doing. We give people a chance to know Jesus personally. We explain that, we share the gospel message with them, and so I think the best testimony for me is the fact that in every camp we think, man, if just one person gets saved or two people get saved, and it's it's typically large numbers of people that give their lives to Christ for the first time because I run into so many people that they've just never heard that that's required. They might have a respect for God, they might know about God, they might have a head knowledge about God, they might have been brought up in a church, they might even go to church every weekend, but they've never heard that there's another step required where we need to surrender our lives to Jesus Christ because we're separated from God because of our sin, not of our own, but because of the way we were born through Adam. We need to make that decision, and it needs to be a personal and purposeful decision that we need to make. Many people that even go to church today don't hear that message, and it's amazing to me that you can go to church your whole life and never hear that message in some cases, and we get a chance to share that message at every camp that we do. And so the best testimony that I have out of every camp is God far exceeds our expectation. I'm like, Lord, I'll do this just for one. I seriously would do this. Just if one person gets saved, all this work, all this effort, I would definitely do it for one. But every year, dozens of people get saved at our camps and every camp that we do. So it's a really exciting opportunity for us to be able to share that.
And they get to do something that they love, that they don't have an opportunity necessarily. Is there any other opportunities that like I've never heard knowing FCA motocross, I know that, but I haven't heard of any other motocross camps. So not only is it a passion, it's there's just really not a whole lot out there
No, yeah,
competing with it.
yeah, that's right. It's yeah, there's other sports ministries, but not exactly the what we do.
Sure.
And again, I think the meeting people where they're at thing, because again, people, I wouldn't have went to this basketball tournament if I knew it was, hey, this is a Christian organization. We're gonna go and we're gonna have church. We're gonna have a church service at intermission halfway through the day. I'd be like, no, I got way better things to do than that.
Right.
I went because I loved playing basketball. All my friends were going, and it gave me a chance to just kind of mess off as a teenager back then. So, um, but when I got there, there's somebody sharing the gospel. Same thing with this. People come because they have a passion for moto or they have a passion for outdoors, and not a lot of that going on. It's pretty special. That's what I love about it. That's why I've been doing this for this is my 13th year doing this with FCA. So I just have a real passion. The connection is there. It's like, okay, this works.
Absolutely.
God has an anointing on this ministry. This works.
Absolutely. So with that being said, what are are there any events coming up soon that maybe we could help you promote?
Yeah, so right now we're focusing on some FCA outdoors. So I run in two lanes for FCA. I'm the regional director for FCA Motorsports, which covers anything with a motor. So if you know anybody out there that has a passion and they gather under any type of a motorsport gathering, we want to connect with them and do ministry. We want to put on a high level event and then we want to share the gospel through that. So in the other lane I run in is FCA Outdoors. That's anybody with a passion for outdoors. So if they love to hunt or fish or hike or kayak or whatever it is. We want to connect with them. So one of the things I have been doing, this will be year number 5. They're actually doing it. I've handed this off to the Ohio FCA staff now, but this will be the 5th year they were doing it. We started it 5 years ago. Is a youth turkey hunt. So every year, each state allows youth usually it's between ages 12 to 15. They allow them to go out early before the normal regular turkey season opens in May. They allow them to go out a few weeks before that and hunt early to try to get youth involved in hunting.
Sure.
We connected with that, and we have been doing ministry through that for now 5 years in Ohio. We're going to be doing that first one here in New York coming up April 24th through the 27th. Getting pretty close. So what we do is we bring youth in ages 12 to 15. That's the New York age. And we put them on about 1,000 acres of private property that we're going to have at Camp Pinnacle up near Voorheesville, New York, which is just south of Albany, Rochester area. Actually, I think that's where you're from, up that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too far, about 15 minutes outside Albany.
Yeah. So it's not very far from you. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be offering youth to be able to come participate in a high quality hunt. We're going to provide them with professional callers, people that have been hunting turkey for a long time, know how to talk the language and call turkeys in. And we're hoping that they have a great experience with that. But we're also, that's a ministry opportunity for us. So throughout the schedule each day, we build ministering opportunities into that. So the big thing for me is we offer high level experiences in the outdoors or in moto sports where people can say, man, that was an awesome event from a passion I have standpoint for that.
Right.
But it's also a great time in an event where we be able to share the gospel.
What would you say to a person who might hear about this youth turkey hunt and say, well, what's the benefit of going to this where I could just go outside with my young person and do it?
Yeah, I think the group thing is a great opportunity. Excuse me. There may not be a lot of people that are great at calling, but we provide, professional callers that volunteer their time. And I think the group setting for any youth, if I was a parent and I had a youth that was actually, this is for 11 to 17. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But if you're a parent and you have a child that's in that age and you can put them into something that they'll enjoy, like hunting, and the other things that we're going to be doing there, and they get a chance to hear something positive in this day and age where the world is absolutely bombarding our kids. I mean, there's a battle out there for our kids, and it's gotten where it's over the top. It's anything and everything is acceptable, and they're just getting, they're getting brainwashed with all this negative demonic stuff that's going on in our schools today. Here's an opportunity where I could send my youth to an event like this that they could have a great time doing outdoors things and have a positive experience for what God's plan is for their life and what the true purpose of why we're here is, and get a balance to all the other stuff that they hear.
Yeah, no, that is, and I agree. Like that is such a unique opportunity. I mean, that's the word that we keep saying over and over and over again, but really that's what it is. It's an opportunity to do something that you love, but it's also a very positive environment that we know is going to share, they're going to hear the truth of the gospel and who God and Jesus are. And that is something that you can see it. I'm a coach. I work in school. I'm a campus ministry. I'm stick and ball ministry here most of the time with FCA. So it's like I'm around it all the time, and it's such a dark world. So being able to create an opportunity like this, it's amazing. So you had started to say, and I know this because I'm helping you coordinate all of it, but for the sake of, presenting this as a podcast form, what are the other aspects of the outdoor experience? Because you mentioned the youth turkey hunt, but what are some of the outdoor experiences that are also available should a person say, I want to come, I'm not necessarily on board, or maybe I'm too old to go on the hunt, but I want to be a part of it still. What are some of the other things they can expect?
Yeah, so this is what makes this camp unique and special. I'm pretty pumped about this because anything we've done in the past has been specifically turkey hunting. If you weren't a turkey hunter, didn't have a passion to turkey hunt, this camp wasn't for you. What we've been able to do because we've partnered with Camp Pinnacle out in Voorheesville, New York, and they're a Christian camp. We've been able to open that up because of all the other outdoor activities that they offer there. So anyone who is 11 to 17 can come to this camp and they can participate in things like skeet shooting and rock climbing and paintball and axe throwing. And we're going to have a survivalist guy come in who will teach survivalist skills and a bunch of outdoors things that maybe not necessarily connect to the hunting part of it, but
Right.
kids can come and enjoy some camp time away and doing some fun things outdoors. So I'm pretty excited about that because of the fact that this is a unique camp. Typically, we
Right.
don't have that opportunity. So now we've opened this up to say, hey, if you're outside the ages of 12 to 15 and you're anywhere between 11 and 17, you can come to this camp and participate in the other outdoor activities. Or if you just don't have a liking or a passion to hunt, don't rule yourself out. This is going to be a great camp for other reasons.
That's right. If you're somebody like me who I love meat. I'm not one to be there as the transition process, but you still want to be a part of the outside. Maybe you want to learn how to climb or like rock climb or skeet shoot or, the big one that I'm excited to hear about, and this is just because of what I know is the survivalist. That's something that I think a lot of people are going to be excited about, having the opportunity to learn about how to survive in nature. So
Yeah,
having him there will be fun.
yeah, that'll be
But
good. That's
but
unique.
yeah, it's just different, and that's what I love about the ministry of FCA is really it's just creating again opportunities to create passions that are sport related, and then use it as a tool to share ministry. But before we get you out of here, Ed, is there anything else that you want to say or share or just let folks know about? Maybe it's this particular event, maybe it's FCA outdoors, maybe it's FCA motocross, motorsports, whatever it might be. Any parting words that you just want to leave with our listeners?
Yeah, I want to let people know that we can step into and put on a high level experience with any passion that people have for outdoors or motorsports. So, other things that we are doing and have done in the past, we do a mountain bike ministry. So, if you know anybody that's any of your listeners are into mountain biking and they gather together, like I got a group out in Rochester, they gather together every Saturday, and one of our FCA volunteers is the guy that runs that. So they'll ride, Saturday for a few hours, they'll stop and they'll share the gospel message, and then they continue to ride for a few more hours in the afternoon. But so that's an opportunity. Jeep camp. We're getting ready to do our first Jeep camp now.
No, no way.
This is pretty exciting because we almost pulled it off last year, but the guy that is part of the Jeep organization had to step back because he had some things come up that he didn't foresee. But anyway, there's lots of Jeep clubs out there they like to go off-roading, right, with their
Yeah, oh
Jeep.
yeah, yeah.
So we've got some great property where we do our motocross ministry. It's over 500 acres. It's got lots of trails and Jeeps can go on that and they can go off-roading. And then we can actually share the gospel with that platform too. I would say we have the plug and play ministry part going. We can step into any part of passions that people have. So again, anything BMX, we got a BMX camp that we're working on right now where we have a skate park, BMX park, where we're going to actually do a training. We're going to bring people in to train for doing different types of things on BMX bikes, and then we're going to share the gospel during that event. Yeah, so we got lots of opportunities. So I guess my message would be this: if any of your listeners have a passion for a motorsport or an outdoor activity where it brings people together, contact us
Absolutely.
and listen to how we can walk and help do that program, and bring the gospel into that opportunity to share with people through that passion that they have.
Oh, that's exciting. So to that, all of you listeners, and I don't know how many of you actually like regularly listen, or if you maybe know our guests, so you'd listen specifically for that guest. But if what Ed's saying is something that's speaking to you, reach out to. We'll leave his email in our description. You'll have my email on the cast. So reach out to us, and we'll put you in touch with Ed so you can see what you have maybe the opportunity to help get something started. Something like Jeep Camp. That sounds really cool. I'm not even a Jeep owner, and I'd want to come to that.
I know, right? There's lots of things out there that people do for entertainment or passions or off work time. It's just and so we like to say, hey, let us step into that and put on a great high level program and share God's word with you, and with your group. And a lot of times people they really enjoy that because we're not over the top with it. Like we don't push it hard.
Sure.
We literally just share God's word and
That's
we
right.
leave the rest up to him, And so people come out of that and are like, man, I thought this was going to be a, shove it down your throat God thing, and they come out of that going, you guys, the way you do ministry here is just so open and honest, and you leave it up to us, and so they don't leave there with any doubt that they need to make a personal decision for Jesus, and not everyone does, but
Sure.
at least they'll never have an excuse to say, well, I never knew, because
That's
now
right.
because we make sure they know.
That's right. Well, Ed, again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna hit end on our record, but I just really appreciate you stepping into this space and leading our region in such a diverse and unique way and providing such cool opportunities. So thank you so much for joining the locker room today, Ed. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, one last plug I'll put in there for our turkey hunt, okay? Because
Yeah,
it's coming up in just about 2 weeks. Is anyone interested in an outdoor activity camp or a youth turkey hunt, April 24th through the 27th? Go on our website, www.mxfca.org, or your Northeast website that you can share. But you can get all the details on there and sign up and register and find out if it's something you might be interested in. But got to get signed up soon because it's filling up fast and we're running out of time.
that's right. So if that's something you're interested in, don't wait. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you next time on the locker room.
Yeah, thanks, Justin.
No problem.